This film also had the creepiest Santa. And you could,
oh my god,
yes!
We need to find the fourth dimension, and by finding all these tiny little perfect things that happen in our neighborhood or in our town or whatever, we're gonna find the fourth dimension, and we're missing one. I'll pick Andrew Garfield. Peter 3.
Peter 3.
Ooh, that comic book filter.
This green ball?
This green tennis ball is Vecna, yeah. We're talking about Chippendales the dancers, right? Not Chippendales the chipmunks? Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about.
Hello, cinema peeps!
Hello, cinema peeps.
The day has finally come.
Finally!
The last clue has been solved. We are talking about National Treasure, Edge of History. I'm kind of glad we waited.
Yes,
because sometimes too. We'll give our thoughts only an episode or two in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad we waited for the entire series to be done. And I gotta say right off the bat, I enjoyed my time. It was a great time.
100% agreed. Wow, it blew me away.
Right? All right, so I guess we're just gonna get right into it. This is our review of the National Treasure Edge of History show.
Mm-hmm. On Disney Plus.
Yes, on Disney Plus.
I guess for context, if anybody either grew up in the early 2000s or was a kid in the early 2000s, or hey, even if you were just a fan of it in the early 2000s, Disney had a movie starring Nicolas Cage called National Treasure. And the premise was that he was a treasure hunter, historian kind of guy. His family had connections to the, what are they called? The Freemasons or something like that. And he had some artifacts that were in connection to Benjamin Franklin and all the Freemasons and all the founding forefathers who started America. And so it kind of leads him on this wild goose chase treasure hunt around America, finding all these sacred clues and relics and clues and relics to lead to a secret hidden treasure of the just of America, hidden treasure that was hidden in America or something like that.
Yeah, the treasure they were trying to hide from the Templars. So the Freemasons were trying to hide it from the Templars.
Yes.
Because they were no one man should have all this treasure.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Right? Spider-Man!
Spider-Man!
But you follow the story of Ben Gates and his friend Riley Poole and their search of finding this long-lost treasure to prove that his family was not crazy.
Yep.
And to, recover that lost history.
And then he gets kind of tangled up in the FBI, and he gets chased by the FBI, also while trying to race against his former partner, Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Who is also racing against him to try to be the first one to solve the clues and get to the treasure first. And obviously Sean Bean has more sinister plans for the treasure, more greedy plans for the treasure, selfish plans than Nicolas Cage.
Right.
And so then it was such a good series, or such a good show, and it was a hit. They made a sequel, and the sequel I thought was pretty decent too.
It's okay.
It had some moments that were a little...
It has Helen Mirren in it, so really, already 10 out of 10.
Exactly, right?
10 out of 10.
And I mean, it's probably about, what you'd expect from a sequel for Disney. But I thought it was pretty decent for the most part. And then, year after year after year after year after year after year, we waited for another one to come out, or a possible series, or whatever it was. And
because they did tease it. They did tease it.
There was rumors and everything. And then finally, at the unfortunate event of you and me, we didn't hear the announcement until much later. It was announced at Comic-Con a couple of years ago that there was going to be a TV series made of National Treasure, and here we are today. It exists.
Bask in its glory.
It's beyond our wildest dreams.
I would say I really liked it.
Yes.
Really liked it.
Right? I was nervous going into it because as it's been, lately, there's these sequels and reboots have had a reputation of not holding up to their original counterparts. But no, I really had a lot of fun watching this series. It was good.
And I know my parents and even my brother were like, "Oh, is Nicolas Cage going to make an appearance?" And I was like, "I don't think so. I mean, would have been cool." Yeah. And I know at first my parents were like, "Well, we don't really want to watch if Nicolas Cage is in it." I mean, super hot take. I didn't really give a fucking shit.
I mean, I like that they did have a kind of nod to him. In the episode that Riley, spoiler alert, Riley does come back. He does show up for an episode, and I like the little interaction they kind of had with him, like talking to him on the phone, and he still has that connection with him. So in a way, he's still a part of the universe, which is nice, but he's not full on in there, kind of taking over the limelight.
Right, and I feel like it was probably the right call to make. Although I always thought it'd be fun to do a series with, like, if they had kids.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was going to be. Like, if this main character was the daughter or somehow related to him.
But at the same time, like, it's kind of nice because then it shows, like anybody, as long as you have that passion. And I mean, even in her, like, friend group, right? Like, everyone had their own kind of skill set that they brought to the table.
Yeah, it wasn't just everybody was a treasure hunter. It was just they were kind of there all along the ride with her, but were able to contribute in some way.
Yeah. As they say, the treasure at the end was friendship.
Friendship.
But so the series follows Jess, and you pick up with her and her friends. They're doing an escape room, which I thought was so funny at the beginning.
I love that that's how they brought them into it.
I was like, what the? Although I'll also say I want to do escape rooms like that because that looks dope as hell.
Right? Yeah.
But anyway, so she has this her Mayan necklace that she inherited from her mom, who had died a year before the series takes place. And then, oh my god, it's been so long already. How did we even start our journey? She has the necklace. Blanking so hard now.
I know, me too. Oh my gosh, it's somehow okay. So somehow she has a connection with Peter Sadesky, who was the original FBI agent in Nicolas Cage's National Treasure movie. So there's some sort of connection or tie-in, or she somehow crosses paths with him, and he identifies the necklace that she's wearing as being a relic or just a symbol of Daughters of the Plumed Serpent, which has a connection to the Pan-American treasure that has been lost in history.
And so he gives her her first kind of clue to kind of start her on her journey. And and then shenanigans take place after that.
Yeah, we find out that there's another treasure hunter, also kind of similar to the original movie, who's also on the search for this Pan-American treasure, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Billy.
She kind of comes in as Billy Price. Is that her name?
Sure.
Billy Price? I think that's her name. Who I thought did really well.
Oh, yeah. I was like a little skeptical, but like I also like was like, yeah. I was like, I know you're a villain, but sometimes I was like, yeah, I'll be on your team. Why not?
Right? But she played like a classic Disney villain. I feel like she really like leaned into that part of it all, and she was just very compelling. And she still had like that kind of like, devilish stare where she, she just kind of like that deadpan stare and made it very menacing. And you were like, oh, what's she gonna do? You weren't sure if she was gonna like, turn against them in some ways, or if she was just gonna like pull something out of left field or do something really, really out there.
Right. And I don't, when you said Disney villain though, I always think of very over the top, but I don't feel like she went over the top.
No, definitely not.
I thought she did really good. I think I also liked it because kind of, again, contrast of we were talking about in the first movie, right? Like when it was Nicolas Cage versus Sean Bean, right? Like they're what are words? Like when you saw Ben, he was like trying to solve the puzzles, whereas Sean Bean was always trying to like find loopholes around it because he wasn't that intelligent. So he's using like his brute strength and his resources to try to get to the treasure. But it was fun to watch the two ladies kind of go out because they both were like intelligent. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they were able to like solve in their own ways.
Yeah, yeah. They
So
both had a passion for history.
Clash.
They both had that knowledge to share and kind of bounce off one another.
Oh my god, that scene with her and those reenactment people, and they were in prison, and she just was bonding with this lady. I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome.
That was awesome, yeah.
But yeah, so I thought she played a really good villain.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, like, kind of the end, like, it didn't fall completely flat, but it was like a slightly underwhelming ending or conclusion.
Oh, really?
At least for me. But like, literally, like, I'm gonna jump ahead a lot. So as we said, Peter was in this one in the start of the series, and then you also meet in the FBI, the same FBI agent who I didn't think he had a name. I was just like, idiot FBI agent number 1. There you are.
When they kept referencing that he was in the movie, I had to like think back. I was like, is he?
Oh, the second I saw him, I was like, that's that motherfucker. My parents are like, what? I was like, that's the loser who didn't think they stole the Declaration of Independence. I was like, what a waker. Loser. But I was like so excited, you know? And again, he tricked me. I will say he tricked me.
Yeah.
You know, being this like, oh yeah, like, hey, because again, you meet a new FBI agent.
Ross.
Oh yes, Agent Ross. Betsy Ross.
Betsy Ross.
And like her whole stick is that she made a mistake. So he was kind of like trying to be that mentor character, be like, hey, like I made a mistake too. And like, you know, trying to be there. But then you find out he's part of the bad guy organization.
What
so I will say the fucking end of season or episode 9, and he stabs her. I was like,
no, I was like, I did not expect that at all.
I was like, that's how you make good TV, people. That's how you do it.
Exactly what
that's
I was
how
thinking.
You fucking do
I was like, like I actually like audibly gasped. I was like, oh,
I know.
No.
I mean, my parents were like, the timeline doesn't make sense. And I was like, shut up! Shut up! I don't care. Normally I would too, but shut up. And that's where I kind of felt like it was a little bit underwhelming. Like, I thought his reveal as a villain was really good. But I too was like, I don't feel like they gave enough explanation. They were just like, yeah, I just joined this thing. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that's what we're going with. Again, to me wasn't like, oh, it completely bombed. But I just wish there was a couple more things fleshed out. But like,
yeah, like it was easy enough.
That twist.
Oh yeah, like yeah, I definitely had the same questions too. There was something that like would have been nice to tie together to kind of explain that better, but it wasn't so much to the point where it took me out of everything, which is nice.
Yeah. Like I said, would love like a touch more information, but like, yeah. What can you do? I guess. Although I will say, like, I made a lot of early predictions in the show, and some of mine were right. So I was pretty pats on back to me.
Really? So, like what?
I was like, oh, Jess's father is not dead. I was like, that's just a little bonk to the head. And then, of course, they were like, oh, no, he's dead. I'm like, motherfucker's alive. Don't you give me that shit.
That one's definitely given.
And what a surprise. He's alive.
He's alive. Yeah.
He's alive. And watching him trying to redeem himself as a dad after being, you know, absent from his own daughter's life for like 20 plus years was really nice. I thought that was really
nice,
cool.
And it had some funny moments too.
Right?
I liked his like, hey, it's my first selfie.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yay. One prediction though I made during the show, but I wasn't right. I was like, because they never really, like, they talked about how like Billy's brother dies. And then of course, Sadusky's grandson, fucking Joe Jonas, motherfucking wannabe.
Yeah.
Lucas, sure, whatever his fucking name is. I was predicting that her brother was his dad. Just because. But until we saw the pictures, I was like, oh yeah, that's not right. But I was like, that would have been even
interesting.
Better. Although I will say, things I did not like about that show, Lucas, oh my god, he's like, let me sing a song. I'm like, what? Again? Like for, who was it, episode 2 or they're at the Elf, or I think it's 2 or 3 that they're
at Graceland?
Right? To me, that made sense. You know, you have Elvis, you know, King
he
of
needs
Rock.
to cause a distraction.
Right? Like all that made sense to me. But then like every episode we were squeezing in another song by this motherfucker. And I was like, really?
He's just trying to make it in somehow.
I'm pretty sure he was like, hey, I'll do your little treasure hunt movie, but
I'm also trying to become a serious musician, so
yeah. So I need to have a music video at least every episode. So I won't lie. The episode where everyone thought he was dead or missing, I was like, oh my God, no song.
I will agree. Like, no offense to Lucas, but he was kind of, I don't want to say forgettable, but just like he didn't stand out as much other than just kind of being like the love interest. And obviously he's got the relationship to Peter Sadesky and stuff like that. So that's kind of like why he's there. But after I was like, are they going to get together? Is this going to be a thing where they just, and then they finally get together and I'm like, okay, let's just move past this now. Let's get back to the treasure.
I will say, even in like the first National Treasure, the romance is just not strong.
Right.
They really just shouldn't. Friendship, though, even though I was just joking about it early on, is kind of the bread and butter, right? Like, you think of Riley Poole and him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, friendship and family. Romance is just not there.
It doesn't trump the other stuff, right? That's for sure, yeah.
Because, again, there was this weird part where they're like, because there was that other guy, forgetful, nice friend.
No, not Ben. What's his name? Eddie.
No.
Eddie? Starts with an E, doesn't it? Ethan.
Ethan, there we go. I like how we're like, we love this series, but can't remember a single character's name. We're just like, who are any of these people? Because there was that whole
not
shtick.
Nicolas Cage. We don't know.
Riley Poole? Who are you people?
Yeah, we'll tell you all the original characters' names. Couldn't tell you who any of these names are.
Right? But yeah, there was that whole thing with like Ethan too, where I guess they weren't dating. They're like, wow, wouldn't it be weird if we dated? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they were like good friends or something like that, but they were more than friends in some ways, but they would never acted on it or something like that.
Yeah, again, kind of like you were. I'm like, can we get to the treasure part? Like,
yeah.
I could care less. Also, okay, weirdest pet peeve. So, a surprise to no one, I was in show choir in high school, and we had our little like performance where like you could pick any song you wanted to sing, and me and my friends wanted to sing Love Shack.
Nice.
And we were not allowed to because it was too sexual
for
a Catholic school, even though we sang a song from Sweeney Todd about turning people into meat pies. So, you know, take it what you will. When they were like, oh, let's perform this Lady Gaga song that we did in junior high, and it was so I was like, you were dancing, what? They're all like, whoosh. Like, do that dance. Oh, I don't know if we remember it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, we do know it. And I was like, they were really getting up in each other. And I was like, you're just friends, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
In junior high, no less.
I know.
Okay. In junior high, I did Grease Lightning on stage at a talent show with a cardboard car. That's what I did.
Oh, hells yeah. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
So again, I guess that could be the music video portion of the series. I was like,
you're right. That's the Disney touch they put on it. They're like,
I think
Disney
so,
movie.
yeah.
We gotta sprinkle some music and some dance numbers in there somewhere.
Right. I will also say some of their song selection. Sometimes I was like, oh yeah, cool. And other times I'm like, this is really pulling me out. And again, I don't know, it's just because they're trying to find they're like the current stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really know. Sometimes some of that music choice just pulled me right the fuck out.
I feel that.
I like when they did like remixes of like the old stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was great.
I thought the song they used at the very last episode, the very end, was really catchy. I like that one. It's called 15 Minutes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty catchy. That one was good. I had never heard that one before. But yeah, no, I agree.
Like I said, some of the songs, bops, loved it. Other times I was like, oof, yikes, do not like this.
Yeah.
But really, I think that's the only things I really didn't like about the series overall.
Yeah.
How about yourself? Was there anything you super liked or anything you were like, nah, thank you, brah?
For the most part, like anytime I ever even had a inkling of skepticism towards something, it was quickly like gone within the next episode. That was nice. At least there'd be some moments where I'm like, I don't know if I'm following this. I don't know if I like this. I'm not sure about this. But then in the next episode, they just like completely it would just go away, and I was like, all right, I'm back in. This is awesome.
Back in, baby.
I really, really was rooting for is it Tasha? Tasha
yes.
and Oren.
Okay, again, speaking of romances, I think that was the one I was rooting for.
That's what I was gonna say. Is theirs out of all of them was probably the one I was rooting for the most, just because it wasn't so in your face, I guess, but also it was just it was cute. It was nice. It was, you know, they were supporting each other. They obviously cared about each other. There wasn't too like really any like drama or anything between them, and they were there for. They both wanted to be there for Jess, and so in doing so, it kind of brought them together closer, which was nice.
Right, it was very cute.
My dad actually, when whenever the episode was that they had to try and figure out who out of their group who had the bug or who was like the one leaking the information, my dad was like, "It's the guy with the shoes," and I'm like, "What makes you say that?" And he's like, "Well, he's like, he keeps asking what the plan is. He keeps repeating it. He seems like he's." You know, there's something there, right? And it turned out that it was him, but he wasn't like, he was a rogue, what do you call him?
Yeah.
Double agent. He just had a bug in his shoe, right? So I was like, well, he called it, like, he wasn't wrong.
Right, and I mean, funny. I kind of like your dad. I was also just like, oh, this person's actually a spy. This guy's a spy. The guy at the morgue, he's a spy. This person's a spy. Everyone's a spy.
So I will say that I was skeptical of Ross's, friend there who worked in the morgue. Yeah, like you were saying. Yeah. I was very skeptical of him as they were starting to get closer. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna turn on her, something's gonna happen, and he's gonna say something and gonna get them in trouble. He's gonna ruin everything.
Right.
But no, he was a good guy, and he helped Tasha save her when she got stabbed, which was nice. And I like that when he was helping her on the phone and she's like he got her to like stab her with the straw, and then she's like breathing again. He's like, yeah.
That scared everybody.
That was funny.
Yes, I also enjoyed that. That was very cute and hilarious. But yeah, I also was just assuming everyone was a spy.
Right? Everybody's against them.
Everybody. And I mean that in a way, right? I can't remember who. Oh, it's Jess's dad who kind of brings it up, where you like, or him and someone else. Oh, it was also, I guess, Luke. Being like how it's like you can't trust people, and then you get very skeptical, and so in the end he was like, oh, it's good to have friends, you know, treasure hunting's great, you know, and getting treasure is great, but you know, doing with people you care about and having a support system, again,
that's the
friendship.
Real treasure.
Is the treasure. Friendship.
Yep.
Friendship.
But yeah, overall though, like incredibly well written. I thought there was such great action. Like I said, there was not one episode that left like I didn't feel like any of the episodes like fell flat in any way. I felt like I was always excited to watch the next episode, and then like super satisfied and like excited again to watch the next one after that. Yeah, really well written. I thought the mysteries were really good. Like not just the treasure clues they had to solve, but like the mystery of how Peter Sadecki died, I thought was a cool like thing that they tied into in the background. And then I'm trying to figure out who is Salazar, is her dad alive? And then again with the whole with the necklace and all that kind of stuff. Like everything was just really thought out well and really well done. And I'm glad that of all the reboots Disney's made that they really did treasure this one.
Nailed it. Yeah. I thought it did that really nice balance, kind of like we talked about earlier, how they didn't, like, Riley Poole did come, which was very nice, but, like, again, I didn't really need Nicolas Cage, but, like, they wrote it in such a way where, like, they clearly played homage to, like, the first National Treasure in some of the ways the clues were. It's like, oh, yeah, this kind of reminds me of in the first movie, but it's still different in a way.
Exactly.
So they did, I think, in equal good parts of, like, paying tribute to the original, but still having its own thing.
Yeah, it ties in well into the same universe, but it's a new generation with new, new perspectives, new stories, new things to bring to the table, and it was really well done. I also like that they had in the clue room they had like pipe and Benjamin Franklin's spectacles and stuff. I thought that was a nice cameo in there as well, or Easter egg is in there as well.
Right? And again, but like it wasn't too overbearing, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just really good. Like I said, there's like a couple things where I was like, ugh. Like I also kind of sighed when like Tasha was like a live streamer. I was like, and the very first episode, she's like, we have to live stream The Clue. I'm like,
yeah,
I get it. This generation films everything. Ha ha ha. But I found like literally after episode 2, they like dropped it, and it was more about her hacking abilities.
Well, and same thing with Oren too. I felt like because he was like the YouTube shoe reviewer or whatever.
Yeah.
They had that whole bit in there, but then again, it was just kind of like he'd mention it every so often or tie it in with a joke somehow. It didn't become like part of his character throughout the whole thing, which was nice.
Yeah, and then showing that what he brought to the table was, you know, how he cares about his friends and how much heart that he has, you know. Again, everyone kind of bringing their own unique, you know, thing to the table. Although I will say, I guess I was just thinking about it after, I think it was yesterday, but how like they do kind of end it. They don't really end it on a cliffhanger, but they do end it on like, hey, there's maybe another treasure to go searching for.
Yeah.
So
put it out in the universe, 2?
Please.
Yeah.
Because that would be
right. Totally.
Again, Ethan's girlfriend got left on red. We don't know what happened to her. I feel bad for her. Like,
that's the other thing I was thinking about too. They had her like she kept coming back, and so I was like, you know, for someone who is either just like a one episode off character or whatever, like she kind of kept like they brought her back in that episode where Jess has his phone. And they're trying to track her, and in order to do so, like she ends up calling him, or he ends up calling his ex-girlfriend while she's like trying to have fun at the bar and forget him and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no, she's in trouble. We need you to like track the phone, like drop the pin for us and stuff. So that was kind of cool that they tied her in with that. But yeah, I wonder if like there's maybe something more for her character going forward.
Right. If there's a season 2, baby.
Yes.
I really hope so.
I hope so too.
I really hope so. But I need less of the singing from Lucas. He needs to zip his lips, please.
Yes.
Like, he's not a bad singer, but it was like every fucking episode. It's like, oh boy, we get it. Just relax, okay? Jesus, Murphy.
I don't know. I feel like for a kid who's supposed to have been part of the Freemasons, grew up in it with his grandfather and his father. I know he like didn't want that life or whatever, but I felt like he should have been able to contribute more. And the only time I really felt like he did was either because of his grandfather, or there was that one time near the end where he was able to solve like the clue of that like phrase or whatever. Other than that, it was just like, yeah, let me look pretty and sing and then be brooding, you know? Like there wasn't much more that was notable about him, really.
Like I said, I was pretty happy when we thought he was dead. So I was pretty pumped. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you're not around anymore.
Also, shout out to Casey. That girl's a badass for being on the bad team. Like,
oh yeah. I don't know why. My parents and my brother really did not like her.
Really? I was actually kind of sad when she died. I was like, no.
Oh, I was too. Because again, I'm speaking to like Billy and their like evil team, right? Like where it's like, oh, like they like, I'm like, oh yeah, I mean you did beat, I mean I know it's like you're supposed to be like, oh well she beat up Lucas. I'm like, yeah, but like that kid needed the shit kicked out of him. I think he really needed it, you know what I mean? But yeah, they always refer to her as the red-haired bitch. I was like, whoa guys, fucking relax.
Right.
Jeez. But I mean, talk about, okay, so again, at the episode 10, right, they're almost at the treasure. You know, but Jess and her dad lead Billy's crew into traps because they're outnumbered and they have guns. And they trigger a trap where one of the guys starts hallucinating, and so he just like shoots randomly in the air, kind of thing, because he thinks there's something there. And a stray bullet, you know, hits Casey, and so. You know, they're trying to find them, but, you know, she's being weaked by the bullet, and Billy's like, hey, it's gonna be okay, and then Salazar just fucking kills her, and he's like, she's a liability, and she turns around and fucking shoots him, like, whoa! What a nice, that was, whew. But I mean, even early on when she had the other guy who I already forgot his name, who died in the caves there.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah,
I mean, she also was like,
he's a liability. Yeah.
Oh no, I remember her being like, she felt bad, but she's like, we can't save him if we don't, like, we need to leave.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So again, playing this idea that like she's not, like, she's evil, but like, I don't know, it's hard not to be like, well, she's not completely evil if she still cares about her employees, you know?
Yeah.
And then as you find out kind of near the end that you think they're treasure hunters, but they're out to destroy the treasure.
Yes.
So I always thought that was a cool, like, a new twist to it all, you know? The fact that they talk about how they're like, when we discovered these treasures, you know, wars are caused again because new truths have been revealed and we need to keep like the status quo kind of thing. But I thought that was really interesting and cool. And again, this idea of like, you know, paying homage to, yeah, they're treasure hunters, but giving it that twist where it's like, okay, well, why is this group after the treasure though? It can't just be because they're after it. Is there a reason kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. I do like that. And it's always kind of been, I think, an underlying motivation or theme, I guess, of all the movies and the series. It's like, let's, you know,
preserve history. Let's
preserve history. History's important. Yeah, we can learn from these things, right? So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And I mean, you know, the fact that basically, I felt like it wasn't super duper obvious. I know, like, there's some shows that kind of make it a little bit obvious that it's like, we're going full feminist on this kind of thing, right? But I did like the girl power that we kind of did. We kind of like, you know, reversed the roles. Instead of, you know, it was a lead woman. The villain was a lead woman. Kind of all the main people were women, and all of their kind of like secondary background helpers or just like the B characters were the guys. Like, you know, it was all about Ross, and Hendrix was kind of in the background. And I know he had like a more important role later on, but at least like it was more about her. Then more about Jess. It was more about Billy. More about Casey, and all the other guys were just kind of like in the background. So I thought that was really well done. It wasn't too in your face. And you were like, hell yeah, these women are badasses. Nice. This is awesome, right?
I'm gonna go hunting for treasure now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've already said it, but I think like overall I thought this was really, really good.
Yes.
And I mean, like I said, there's like a couple things where I'm like, oh, I wish there was a little more explanation here. I wish Lucas would shut the fuck up all the time. But I mean, like, for waiting all this time, I'm happy.
Me too. Yep.
It gave me that treasure hunting itch again. I loved solving the clues. It was just a good time.
Yes. Round of applause. Right? Well done, Disney.
Well done. So I'm really hoping. I mean, maybe they just teased it just, you know, just in case to put it on the universe, but please, let's pick it up for another season. So again, that would be cool if maybe Nicolas Cage maybe can be part of this treasure hunt this time around, maybe.
Yeah, somehow. You know? Yeah, even if he just comes back for an episode like Riley did, or
right?
Yeah, he like bumps into them somehow. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
So, Disney, get to fucking work on it. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today's episode.
Yep.
So yeah, I hope you like National Treasure because that's all we're talking about. That's all we talked about.
If you made it through this far and it sounds like something you want to watch, we highly recommend it.
Yes.
It's a great series. Go even the movies. They're just iconic. They're great. They're a lot of fun. Just a like all around fun time. That's all I can say.
Hoot and toot and good time.
Yep.
That reminds me of recommendations. I actually have a YouTube video recommendation.
Oh, okay. I do have a recommendation. I just remembered.
Oh, excellent.
It's obviously, unfortunately, one where you'd have to have a subscription to Paramount Plus to see it. But I highly recommend watching the Yellowstone spin-off series 1883 and 1923. We're currently watching 1923 right now because that's the newest one that's come out. And I've only seen very small bits of Yellowstone. I actually have really no interest in Yellowstone itself. But 1883 and 1923 are really well done because they're history/period pieces. And I don't know, I just feel like there's some adventure behind it. And I don't know, it's hard to say, but I just feel like there's more drama and kind of like just family drama conflict in Yellowstone that I have really no interest in seeing. But there's more historical type adventure survival stuff and action and everything in these two series. And it's just really well done, and I highly recommend it.
Hells yeah. Well, okay. Well, since I'm editing this episode, if I can ever find it, yes, it's a YouTube video. It's a nice, digestible 9-minute video talking all about the sound of movies and how it's changed from theaters to your home. And if you're like, why does it seem like it's so quiet? And it talks about like the early days of making movies.
Okay.
And like how the technology's changed and then the whole production of it. Again, might be a little too nerdy, but I thought it was very insightful and nicely digestible. Nice nums, you know?
That's awesome. I like that.
If I can remember or find it, I will leave a link, or not a link, I will post it down below somewhere for people to check it out.
Excellent.
But, after that long search, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it, letting us geek out about one of our favorite shows.
Yeah.
If you also liked National Treasure History, then consider leaving us a little likesy. Or leave a comment. Did you watch the series? Did you even know this was a thing?
Yeah.
Let us all know. And most important, could you please consider subscribing to two pretty awesome gals? Just saying. But, yeah. Until next time, guys, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey.
Monkey.
And...